Hello, my name is Sharon Price, and I am the Behavioral Health Coordinator with the Nebraska Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing. This month, the month of March, is Women's Her Story Month. Her story is used instead of the word history, and it means that each woman's story is unique to themselves. Women's Her Story Month is celebrated nationally every year and has been since 1982. As Women's History Week, and then 5 years later in 1987, it became the month of March as Women's Her Story Month. This year's theme is Grow Together, Heal Together, and Grow with the Flow. Women's History Month is intended to bring awareness to the past struggles and barriers women often faced, and the hurdles that they have overcome to achieve various successes in their lives and recognize the vital roles that they have brought to their communities. I'd like to recognize two deaf women from Nebraska and acknowledge their struggles. And despite the barriers they faced, they still were able to make vast contributions nationwide. First, I'd like to recognize Regina Olson Hughes. Regina was born in Herman, Nebraska in 1895. Herman is a rural village full of weeds, plants, and flowers. Regina was born with the ability to hear, and then at the age of 10 had an illness which caused her to lose her hearing until she became deaf at the age of 14. She was, however, able to speak for herself. When she became deaf, she had to learn to read lips and rely on written communication until she went to Gallaudet College, where she learned to sign. When she graduated from Gallaudet, she decided to reach out to her father and his friend, who was a Nebraska senator and owner of the Omaha World Herald. His name was Filbert Hitchcock. She reached out to him asking for help to find a political job. Filbert's response was, "Nice girls don't work. You just go on home and take care of your papa. And then you'll find a nice man who will take care of you." Regina was not impressed with his comment. She later married a Gallaudet professor, and the two of them lived on the campus for 30 years. She worked at the U.S. Department of Agriculture as a research clerk and then as a scientific illustrator and translator. Regina was fluent in four other languages: French, Spanish, Portuguese, and Italian. And she used all four of these languages during her role at the U.S. Department during World War I. She continued to work as a scientific illustrator in botany, which is a study of flowers and plants, for the Agricultural Research Service until she retired. Then she worked at the Smithsonian Institution until the age of 95. She also taught for some time at the Mississippi School for the Deaf and is the only deaf person to have two plants named after her. One is a type of daisy, and the other is a type of bromelade. Pictures will be shown at the end of this presentation. She also did a lot of painting. She painted a lot of plants, drew a lot. Her painting of an orchid is on permanent display at the National Museum of History in Washington, D.C. She also had a solo exhibit where she showed over 34 pictures of paintings and drawings of different plants. The second person we'd like to acknowledge is Alice Luigi Hagemeyer. Alice was a native of Morrill, Nebraska, and graduated from the Nebraska School for the Deaf. Alice later majored in library science at Gallaudet College and graduated in 1957. She developed a passion for promoting deaf and library awareness to the general public. She created Deaf Heritage Week, in which programs about deaf culture, deaf history, deaf related, anything related to hearing loss was provided in libraries throughout the United States, talking about deaf culture and hearing loss. Eventually, she obtained a master's in library and information science from the University of Maryland in 1976. She then worked at the Washington, D.C. Public Library for 34 years, becoming its first full-time, quote, librarian for the deaf community. Later, she created the Red Notebook, which is a book that includes different artifacts and articles about the deaf community, deaf culture, hearing loss. All of that was in the Red Notebook, which was for the Martin Luther King Memorial Library. Other libraries wanted this same Red Notebook in their libraries too. So it is now developed and available for online use. She is president and founder of the Friends of Libraries for Deaf Action, FOLDA for short, and was also the chair of the National Association of the Deaf Ad Hoc Committee and was a part of the push to have March 13th to April 15th recognized as National Deaf History Month. She continues to lead FOLDA and works to advocate and maintain deaf-related literature and dedicated sections in libraries across the United States. Thanks for watching.